Today we're going to answer the question that every hacker has. What exactly makes an S-tier hacker? What's up everybody, it's Veraxity, aka the speaker of the skids. And I know that some of you guys have been asking for another tier list video for what seems to be like, I don't know, 95 years or so. So today, as you probably read by the title, we're going to be doing another tier list video. This one's going to be the hacker tier list, where we take all of these guys down here that I have, and we're going to rank them on a scale from top G to bottom F. I basically have a bunch of well-known hackers out there who, they're defaced, they're not anonymous, they're not, I don't know, some Roblox hacker or something like that, but well-known hackers, and then we're gonna put them on a list from best to worst. Now this kind of depends on what you think makes a good hacker, right? Some people are like, oh, he's a good hacker if he makes a lot of money, or he's a good hacker if he can program his way out of a paper bag. Like, there's a lot that goes into being a good hacker. So since this is my tier list, we're going to be going by my definition of what a good hacker is. And believe it or not, no, it's not how many credit cards these people have stolen, right? It's not anything like that I'm going to be ranking them by. We're going to go into each of these people and dive into a little bit of their lore so we can figure out a little bit about them, and then we're going to give our best judgment together where we think these hackers would place on the tier list. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab your Razer Black Widow clickety-clack keyboard, grab your fucking virginity, and let's go take a look at the hacker tier list, shall we? So before we actually get balls deep in grilling up a hacker tier list here, I do want to just take a minute to say that if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've had other tier lists on this channel, right? And some of you have been wondering, hey Veraxity, where are your other tier lists, right, dude? And so just to keep a long story short, I just want to say that those other tier lists didn't really abide by the community guidelines of YouTube according to their words. So out of fear for getting community guideline strikes or just, having my channel poof taken out of the internet entirely, I decided the best course of action was to delete my hard work, right? I just removed all of the tier list videos and we're starting fresh with this one. This isn't new news exactly. I had to delete these videos months ago, but still, a lot of people still aren't seeming to get the message, so I just wanted to clear that up real fast. And yeah, let's look at this here tier list, shall we? So if you look down here, you'll see a bunch of faces that, you might seem familiar with. If you like technology, if you like stories about hackers and stuff, you might recognize a couple of these faces down here, right? So all of these hackers down here are unmasked, right? I'm not going to be there's not going to be any, like, Roblox profile picture down here. We're not counting those kind of hackers, right? We're only counting the hackers that are unmasked and the hackers that people know about. So let's start off with this guy right in the middle here. And this guy might seem familiar to a lot of you. So this guy's name is Ryan Montgomery, and he's also known as 0 Day. And what this guy's deal is he's actually all over YouTube because he has his own cybersecurity channel or something like that. If my video's in your recommended, he's probably been in your recommended before too, like Network Chuck, like a bunch of other, cybersecurity YouTubers. He's known for going on podcasts and basically just, flashing the world his Raspberry Pi, into which everyone goes, oh my god, he's a genius. No, just kidding. But still, yeah, he's basically known for going on these podcasts and talking about stuff related to hacking or, just ethical hacking in general. Other than that, I'm not really too sure about this guy. I just know he does that for a living. And, that's pretty respectable, right? Coming from the position that I'm in, where I basically do the same thing, just on a smaller scale. I don't know who else he works for, dude. He might have some other job. He might be, I don't know, he might be a hitman for all I know. But from the information that I got about him right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rank him as a B-tier hacker. Now, why, Veraxity? Why are you making this dude a B-tier hacker? What did he do? Why doesn't he deserve the S rank, Veraxity? And it's because once we go across some of these guys, you'll understand why. Right, so this takes me back to my definition of what is a hacker, and I'm not ranking any of these guys by, who had the biggest credit card fraud hit or anything like that. That's not, that's not, in my opinion, what makes you a good hacker. I'm not judging them by how many Roblox accounts they've stolen. I'm going to be judging these guys purely by the impact that they have on the world from their hacking shenanigans. So basically, who had the best message and who got the most clout off of their antics, because, half of these dudes in here are criminals. By law, I'm sure none of them had, like, super bad intentions or anything like that, but they are still criminals. And speaking of criminals, that brings me to the next guy in our list right here. This dude's name is Graham Ivan Clark, and he also went by the username Kirk. Now, this guy might seem a little bit familiar to you because in the past 3 years, it was the actual I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021, but he actually hacked Twitter, right? Oh yeah, it's that guy. It's that Graham Ivan Clark. The one known for running the Bitcoin, RuneScape doubling money scheme on all the high-profile Twitter accounts that he got access to. So basically, this kid's story, right, is he was a popular member of the forum OG Users. You know how hackers have their forums they like to sit around on. You know, the Roblox skids kind of congregate to Vermilion or something. Well, this dude was interested in selling rare handles on social media sites like Instagram and Twitter. So he went to where all those kids hang out, which is a forum called OG Users, where you can buy and sell usernames. And these usernames, dude, they go for a lot of money, right? Like, you could clear 30K on like 5 good quality usernames, right? Like, it's serious business. These kids take it serious. It's like life or death. But not only did this kid hack Twitter, him and a couple of other people around OG Users got into this thing called SIM swapping. Now, SIM swapping is whenever you fraudulently steal somebody's SIM card from their own phone provider, right? You impersonate them and then you steal their SIM card. Now, what happens when you have this SIM card? You get access to all their text messages, inbound and outbound. So what this kid and his little cyber gang of OG Users people did was basically they sort of did like the modern day cyberpunk equivalent of raiding somebody's bank vault. So they would SIM swap high profile individuals that had a lot of cryptocurrency, and they would get access to their accounts through, you know, the SMS verification. And then after that, they would just drain all their wallets into their own. So they were just SIM swapping for the Bitcoins, right? He was a Bitcoin bandit. Basically, this kid was all over the news, right? Later on, he hacked Twitter and ended up getting himself a sentence in prison. Now, VerXD, where would you rate this kid on the tier list, knowing all of that stuff that I just told you? I would put him at an F-tier hacker, bro. An F-tier hacker. Why do I think he's an F-tier hacker? Because his entire motivation was just money, right? This dude was basically a menace, right? He was just a menace. I mean, look at his fucking face, dude. Look at his face, dude. Does that look like the face of a smart hacker? No, dude. That's the face of a fucking menace criminal, dude. Look, we got literally like light side and we got dark side. Look at that. He was not trying to spread a message, a good message at all, if any message, right? And he was basically just in it for the money. And just because of the SIM swapping tactics, he didn't really have the heart of a hacker. He didn't want to break things. He didn't want to exploit it, right? It was just fraud. Like, that's all it was. He was just a thief, bro. You can call up a company right now and SIM swap somebody. Don't actually do this, but you could call up a company right now and SIM swap somebody, and it would be much easier than finding an actual exploit in a system, right? So that's why this kid gets an F tier on the hacker list, right? I don't fucking no. I'm not. Don't be like this guy. So moving on to our next hacker here, we have this one. Now, if you're a little bit older, you know, from my older viewers around, you might recognize this guy as ZeeKill or Julius Kivamaki. What? You don't know who ZeeKill is? What, have you been living under a rock? No, I'm just kidding. But ZeeKill or Julius Kivamaki is actually a former Lizard Squad member. Yeah, that Lizard Squad that took off Microsoft and Sony in like 2016. They just basically formed a botnet and DDoSed the shit out of Microsoft, right? They did this around Christmas time, and their whole reasoning behind this was, you kids better go outside and play, so we're gonna take off all of your video game privileges. You know, that's basically what they said. But this guy was just the only person that was public about it, and yeah, you know, that's why his face is on here. So already right off the bat, because he had some sort of message, even though it was a stupid message he was trying to get across, you know, go outside, don't play video games. Fuck that, dude, play video games. But, you know, it is good to go outside sometimes. Either way, he gets an automatic higher ranking than this motherfucker right here, just because he had some message behind his, you know, antics, even though it was a stupid message. We're gonna put this dude at a D tier. Now, this isn't even all the information we have about this kid, right? He was actually arrested in, I think, 2021 because he actually leaked a database for the Vestamo Psychotherapy Center, and he went by the handle Ransom Man, and he tried to ransom the psychotherapy center for I don't even know how much money. Basically, he just went down the path of extortion. You know, we don't really support extortion here, but, you know, the company was basically like, no, we're not paying you a ransom, and then he resorted to extorting individual customers from the databases that he pulled, right? So he basically just kept dropping lower and lower and lower, and finally he got caught because he left his entire home directory inside of the root directory of his hacking machine. Absolutely ridiculous, right? Not smart at all. You're not getting C tier ever, dude. He's staying at D tier, but it's still better than this one because this kid was just a machine. He was a menace. This one was just a menace, and then he needed money, right? So let's move on to some of our next hackers down here, which you guys might recognize. This one, and his name is Kevin Mitnick. Now, Kevin Mitnick is one of the most famous hackers in history, right? He got so much press coverage because he was actually on the run from the FBI for like, I don't know how long, it was like a year or like years or months, one of the two, but he was actually on the run from the FBI because he hacked into a number of high-profile companies like IBM, Motorola, and Sun Microsystems. There's actually a pretty funny story about this guy. He ended up leaving a box of donuts because he heard the FBI coming. He was basically like wiretapping the FBI. And he left a box of donuts for the FBI, and it, you know, there's a message in it, and it just said FBI donuts. He was really trolling these dudes, right? And, you know, I think that's pretty respectable. Obviously, you know, don't break the law. It's a bad time if you break the law. But I think what this guy was doing was respectable because he was not in it for the money, right? He didn't sell anything. He didn't try to, you know, steal credit cards. He didn't have the mind of a criminal. He was just going on a spree, dude. Like, he was just hacking. So I'm going to rank him slightly above this guy just because of the outlandish, crazy story that goes behind him, right? And also his good-willed nature of just wanting to be a hacker, right? So people were actually scared while this guy was in prison that he would, like, whistle into a phone and launch nuclear warheads. I'm not even kidding, dude. That's how dangerous they thought this guy was, right? They thought he would start another world war just by whistling into a phone. So I think we can all agree that, you know, he's an A-tier hacker. That's pretty good, right? Like, if you got the feds, the glowies, if you got them convinced that you could whistle into a phone and start a nuclear war, that is pretty good, as long as you're not, you know, trying to scam people or make money off of it. So Kevin Mitnick, very famous hacker, a very, you know, aspiring role model to a lot of young hackers, including myself back in the day. You know, he used to go on shows and stuff, talk about all kinds of different hacking things, demonstrate some tools. You can find a lot of clips of him around the internet. But yeah, I just think he's an A-tier hacker, right? So let's move on to the next one. And the next one down here is this guy. Now, for all my crazy conspiracy theorists, you know what I mean, Antarctica, ice wall, aliens, all that kind of stuff, you know, Lamaus. For all my conspiracy theorists out there, this is gonna be your guy. This guy's name is Gary Mckinnon, and he also went by the name Solo. Now, Gary McKinnon's story is an interesting one, right? He's a Scottish computer hacker who gained unauthorized access to US government computer systems. Back whenever he actually hacked the government, it was known as the biggest military hack of all time because he hacked into NASA, but he wasn't trying to sell intel to foreign countries. He wasn't trying to make money, or it wasn't anything like that at all. He hacked into NASA because, could you guess? Can you guess his reasoning for hacking into NASA? His reasoning was he wanted to find evidence of aliens. And now Gary McKinnon's still active on Twitter to this day, I'm pretty sure. You know, I actually messaged him, I think a couple years ago, but yo, type A Lamau in the comments if you think I should try to get this guy on an interview and we should try to discover, you know, the truth about the aliens, because he hacked NASA just because dude wanted to find some aliens. No, but I think this guy belongs in S tier just because I love that story, dude. That's crazy. This guy is a legend. He was even trolling NASA whenever he hacked them because he was posting messages on thew computers. He was like, your security's crap, all that sort of stuff. It was funny. I enjoy this story very much, and you know what the best part is? He got away with it, dude. I'm not even kidding, dude. For like a couple of years, I think it was, they were trying to extradite him to the US so he could be prosecuted by, you know, the US federal agents. But because I think they said he was on the spectrum, you know, he was a little autistic or something. But because of that, they didn't let him get extradited to the US, so he got away with it, bro. Dude literally fucking hacked the Matrix and got away with it. It's crazy. This is why he's an S-tier hacker, and I think Gary McKinnon will always be an S-tier hacker. Now, moving on to our next hacker, we've got this guy down here, whose real name is Bryce Case, also known as YTCracker. Now, some of you guys may have heard of YTCracker before. You know, he does have a little bit of clout out there, and that's because I don't think he, you know, goes by hacker anymore, really. At least that's what it says on Wikipedia. But this guy, YTCracker, did something with hacking that I admire a lot, actually, and that's that he wrote rap songs about hacking. I'm not even kidding. He's like rapping about hacking things and clearing Apache logs. It's sick, dude. He's a hacker rapper. Now, Bryce Case's story is he was known for his involvement in cracking software and hacking websites in the late 90s and early 2000s. And apparently he was also part of a notorious hacking group called Global Hell. And these guys would hack various, you know, military websites, stuff like that. He even sings about it in some of his songs. But yeah, I really just like the way he incorporated hacking into his lyrics with the rap songs that he writes. I think that's really cool, and I think, you know, for the following that he has, I think it had a lot of impact on the people that, you know, listen to him and stuff like that. So just for all the influence and stuff like that he has on the hacking community and the good that he's done, I'm putting him as an S tier hacker all the way, baby. Look at that. Feel free to go check out some of his hacking songs. They're pretty sweet. You know, they're pretty old school, but I still think they're cool. And I also like the backstory that he has where he was like in a cyber gang, got caught up, and now he's just rapping about it, right? That's pretty sweet. So next up on our list here is Mr. Johnathan James, right? Now a little bit of lore about Johnathan James. He was a prominent member of the hacking community during the late 90s and early 2000s, around the same time that, you know, YTCracker was. And this guy was known for being the first juvenile to be imprisoned for cybercrime in the United States. So this dude was the first kid to go to jail for hacking-related charges. And now, why did he go to jail for hacking-related charges? Well, he did a number of things, including stealing software from NASA and from the Department of Defense. Two things you don't want to do, right? You don't want to do that stuff. And so, yeah, he was the first teenager to be imprisoned for hacking inside of the United States. And now, tragically, his story ended when he decided to unalive himself. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that too much. But some of the software he stole was for the International Space Station. And, you know, if that just got into the wrong hands, that could have been extremely bad. He could have basically brought down the entire space station from out of orbit. It was pretty wild. He did some pretty serious stuff. And sadly, even though he didn't do anything on his last hacking charge, you know, he was actually under investigation again years after he originally got caught up with this stuff. I don't know, I think someone just framed him or something like that, but this dude just got scared and yeah, he, you know, unalived himself just a little bit. But I think the story about the whole space station satellite hacking thing is really sweet, so I'm gonna put him in an A tier hacker. And speaking of A-tier hackers, we have another A-tier hacker that shares a sadly similar fate as Mr. Johnathan James, and that is Mr. Aaron Swartz. Now, even if you don't know who Mr. Aaron Swartz is, you know, you probably do know something that he created, and that something is called Reddit. So you know how every time you look something up and you need a specific question answered, you put Reddit after it whenever you look it up on Google? This guy's basically the reason for that. You know, he created Reddit. He also co-authored the RSS 1.0 specification when he was just 14 years old. However, in 2011, he was allegedly downloading millions of academic journal articles from the JSTOR database at MIT without authorization. And during the whole prosecution time of this, whenever he was, you know, stealing books or whatever, he actually got super scared because he was facing all kinds of federal charges, and he tragically unalived himself in 2013. It's really sad to see these people go like this because that's just, there's so much like talent there, right? By the time they're barely into their 20s, they're just doing crazy shit like this. You know, it just sucks to see two fates happen exactly like this. But you know, they're pretty high ranking in my books, and RIP to the fallen soldiers. So that brings me on to the last hacker down here. Now this guy, some of you might recognize. This is Sabu, also known as Hector Monsegur, and he was a member of the hacking group Anonymous, back whenever it was actually Anonymous, and he also spawned a little offshoot of Anonymous called Lulzsec. Now, Lulzsec was known for their 50 days of lulz, and where they terrorized countries and, you know, federal computer systems, all kinds of governments. They just terrorized them for 50 days, just no stop, just relentless terrorizing them, right? Lulzsec would launch DDoS attacks, they would do defacements on websites, they were just doing all kinds of crazy stuff for the lulz, they said. So basically, Hector Monsegur's story is in 2011, during the midst of all these crazy antics that were happening, he forgot to connect to his IRC chat with a VPN. Oh my god, right? He connected with just his IP address, and soon enough, maybe a couple weeks later, the FBI was at his door threatening his children. And I'm not even kidding, you could look it up. Look, they were literally threatening his children. So what did he do? He did the only thing that he really could whenever you have kids, and that's, you know, he started to work with the FBI because he didn't want to get his kids taken away. So this guy, despite leading a cyber terrorist group and just dismantling governments for the lulz, he went from that to snitching on his homies. Now look, something respectable about this guy is he never did it for the money, right? He wasn't really interested in any of that. He just wanted that publicity, and he wanted to make an impact on people. And when I was a kid looking up to this stuff, you know, it it did make an impact. So that's why I gotta give him the credit for it, you know what I mean? So he's gonna be a B tier hacker in my books. A lot of people are like, "Ooh, Veraxity, he's a fucking snitch." Yeah, he is, but guess what, dude? He also did a lot of stuff. He also had a major impact, you know what I mean? That's what I should say. A major impact on the hacking community. So yeah, guys, I guess this concludes the hacker tier list. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you agree with my takes. Drop a like and subscribe if you don't agree with them, you know? This was a fun video to make. I enjoy talking about hackers with you guys. And let me know where Veraxity would place on here. Let me know where Veraxity would place on the tier list in the comments below. But you can't rank me on the tier list if you don't know what I'm capable of, right? So this is the perfect opportunity to go over to Veraxity.org and check out the course that I have for you. You could learn directly from me and other professors about everything that you're not going to find anywhere else. Over at Veraxity.org, you're going to be going over all of the latest and greatest cyber attacks, how to defend against them, and how to perform them on yourself. Ethically, of course. So make sure you go check that out, come back, and tell me where I belong on the tier list. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Drop a like if you did. There's gonna be tons more videos coming just like this. I'm not gonna lie, having to delete a lot of my videos, you know, it kind of took some motivation away, so that's why I haven't been posting that many long videos, but don't worry about it, you know, there's gonna be some more coming. I'm also getting ready to drop the next update for the course, so, you know, good a time as any. But anyways, guys, thanks for supporting me, thanks for following me, thanks for sticking with it. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Remember to believe yourself, and, you know, you might be featured on some random guy's hacker tier list on the internet sometime later or something, I don't know. But yeah, guys, peace out.